Good morning and welcome. Welcome to my live stream. Um, Here we are to fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. I've been doing this twice a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 live streams. Doing it since October of 2023. I've missed a date yet. And I want to thank you all for finding me on Facebook, Fight CPS, and that you're here in my YouTube room, and I'm here to help you all. I'm here to help you all. Um, it's a hard thing to experience fighting CPS. It really is. It's a very, very hard thing. And I looking through articles that I could read and so forth because I'm trying to share you things that may have worked for others. Now, this is an interactive live stream, and that means you can interact. You can do emojis, smiley faces, or thumbs, or hearts, and even stars would be nice. Please check the follow button and write reviews, and also please check the notice button if you want to know when I'm on. Now, I'm on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and on the weekends at 8 a.m. And then the evenings, I'm on every night of the week, 7 p.m. Those are all West Coast times in California. It's Pacific Standard Time. That's 14 live streams a week. Now, I too was a victim of CPS. I know it firsthand how it can tear a family apart. My family was really torn apart. It went on for the first 5 years with false allegations. And I've been fighting them now for 15 years. Now, when they did they did kidnap my children. I call it kidnapping. They took my 3 children that weren't in danger. They're in school. And one of the things is the policy they do not take children unless they're in imminent danger. If some harm could be follow them. And that's what basically they did. They trafficked them into foster care, the foster care system, which a lot of the CPS entities, and I call the child protection systems, are rogue, meaning that they've turned bad. They are greedy for money. It's a $1 trillion business. It's all about money and how to make money off your child. My 3 children were trafficked into foster care in the summer of 2015. Their idea of safety was to put them in a shelter, overcrowded, right next to the Bureau of Juvenile Prisons. Prisoners were there in the play yard that could talk to the children's play yard. That to me isn't safe. That is really not safe. In fact, the yard had beehives, and the bees attacked the children. Then there was the problem with the rats and the roaches. It seems like that place gets a lot because it's dirty. It's overcrowded. Their sleeping conditions were terrible. And for the first couple of days, they were held in the shelter. We'd visit them, but they had they weren't in school. They read a book. And all 3 of my kids, one was in a private high school, the other was in a well-to-do middle school, and another one, and they all were in part of the STEM program, where they take a science class, an engineering class, a technology class, and a math class. So they needed that. We were able to rescue our children after they abducted them by asking them that they could stay with a family plan. We had a meeting. I think it was later in the week. I think it was on a Monday they took their children, and on Friday they finally got them to stay with my wife's sister and husband, all three of them. And they would take them to the school of origin and also address their concerns, take care of them, which was nice because they were making false allegations against us. These false allegations were terrible. There's nothing that warranted it. There's nothing that warrants these abductions. When they're supposed to take children, they're supposed to be in danger when they take children. And they didn't take them. They weren't in danger. But they took them and they harmed them. Foster care was bad, just like CPS was. That was really, really bad. So I too experience what y'all are going through right now. I too experience that. Now I have a room up on. I have a phone number up on the screen. That 888-888-6582 is the law office of Vincent W. Davis. You can call in there and talk to reception. Tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and that they can help you. They can help you with your case. Now there's some other things you can do while you're here, and I hope you take notes and listen to what I have to say, because there is some important things I do say. I've come up with some rules and stuff. One of the things a lot of you will do is text me a message in here. To text a message, all you have to do is make a comment or a question about CPS. We need to make sure it's about CPS. That's what we're in here for. And please state your full name, your city, or your county and state. And also, if you're outside the United States in your country, yes, I do receive comments and questions from people out of state. In fact, there's 22 countries that have been participating for the last 18 months, some of them on a regular basis. I have from Indonesia to Bangladesh to India up to the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and Libya, then over to the continent of Africa, where I have Liberia, Sudan, and the newest country is the Congo, Republic of the Congo. I have Rwanda, and then I have Mozambique, and then several provinces in South Africa. Several provinces in South Africa. Um, I also, up to Europe, um, I have up to Europe, England, Scotland, Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond, I have North America, Canada, 4 provinces there, and of course the United States. And all 50 states have texted in or called in. I've talked to all of the states, their representatives, and then also the District of Columbia. Then south of the border, Mexico. Then in South America, Grenada. Then over across the Pacific, I've had New Zealand and the land down under, Australia, and 2 of its provinces, Queensland and Victoria. So that's well diversified, over 1,500 people that have talked to me about their CPS case. And all of them have something in common. They are low income and they can't afford an attorney. That is really sad because the court appointed attorney they get doesn't seem to help as much. Now, I want to welcome people that have come into the room. We have David Hidalgo. Good morning to you. NYP from California City, California. Hello to you too. That's Keisha. And then Donald says, I hired Mr. Davis last week. Well, I'm so glad you did. He's one of the best attorneys around. He's a pit bull of attorney. Pray for me and my children. I am going to pray for you and your children. Thank you, and God bless you all. Well, thank you, David. If you want to share your story with us this morning, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to talk about it. Also, if you have any questions, I'd gladly help you with some answers. I'd gladly help you with some answers. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have 15 years of experience fighting CPS. I've known Vincent Davis since I hired him 10 years ago. And he did get my children back. Unfortunately, one of the children was coached by a social worker who did retaliation on us, my wife and I. Now I've raised 6 children. The oldest one is in the 40s, 2 are in the 30s, and the rest are in their young adult lives. I have one as a teenager still, who's 19, but he was 9 when he was trafficking by the child protection system. So I've come up with 5 rules that I wish you all would use, because if I'd known those 5 rules, I would never have lost my children in the first place. Now, those 5 rules I'm going to give them real quick, because a lot of my shows I do take time. But rule 1 is you need to hire a professional juvenile law, family law, dependency lawyer. Those 3 areas of law got to be in the background. Plus, they should have fought CPS, have a long history of fighting CPS. Now, my attorney, Vincent Davis, has 39 years fighting CPS and gotten back thousands of children. He's also a trial attorney. He also does civil lawsuits when your case is done or closed. He has sued CPS, both in state court and federal court, for millions of dollars, and won cases against them for violating your civil rights and your constitutional rights. So he's an excellent attorney. He's based in Arcadia, California, near the LA, near Los Angeles. He's in LA County. And if you have a case in LA County, his retainer is $5,000 and his rate is $500 an hour. Now, if you're in Georgia, his retainer is $125,000. So it varies from place to place, but he'll fight anywhere. He has cases not only in LA County, which call their CPS, their Child Protection System, the Department of Children and Family Services, but he also does Orange County, the county that screwed my children over. They're called the Child Protection Services. He's done Riverside and San Bernardino County. He does Kern. He has a Margaret King up there in Merced County that he's defending a grandmother who's trying to get her grandkids back. So Vincent Davis is really the key to your success. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, what about the court-appointed attorneys? Well, CPS hopes you get the court-appointed attorneys because they're not trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. They're only trained in criminal law. And with that being said, they will not fight like they should fight. Also, they're heavily loaded by CPS with 30 or more cases. So they don't have time to really talk outside being in court. They're in court every day and going from family to family to family. They're not going to fight for your case because they want to get it over. So court-appointed attorneys, you got to put fire under the seat of their pants. You got to tell them either you work for me or I'll charge you for negligence. I'll sue you for negligence. Or I'll report you to the state bar. And they'll take away your license. So you need to emphasize, they'll talk to you. Now, they're not going to come and meet you in an office or anything. They don't have time for that. All they do is they talk to you for a few minutes outside the courtroom and for your hearing. They'll be there for the hearing, but you got to push them to do appeals. You got to push them to do a lot of things, like file a 388 motion. Lots of things there. So getting an attorney is one of the most important rules that I have. Rule 2 is document, document, document. Take audio and visual pictures of everything. Create yourself a notebook. Organize it with subject tabs. Hole punch all your documents and put them in there. One of the great documents you need to create from scratch on notebook paper is called the incident timeline log. The incident timeline log. Every incident that happens, whether on the phone or in person, you need to record it. The format's easy. You just take a piece of notebook paper, and the first 3 lines are devoted to each incident. You put the oldest one first. On the first line, you put the location or the phone number that you talked to them, and the date and time and the people you talked to, who was involved. Then the second line is a summary, a 1-sentence summary of what the incident was about. They took your child. They talked to you. They came into your home, whatever the incident was. Then you put down the third line, you put down the results of the incident. How did it end? Was it positive or negative or left hanging? Now, if it's not finished, leave it blank and come back later and fill it in. Then skip a couple lines, put the next incident. Skip a couple lines, the next incident. Do that with all your incidents, whether on the phone or whether you meet in person, meet at their office, and so forth. Don't forget your court papers. Hole punch them, put them in there. Put in your shot records. What I mean by that, your drug test records. You put in other things that are important, like your parenting class certificates, your program certificates, if you had to take domestic violence, or you're doing a drug rehab, or whatever the case may be. All that goes to the notebook. So that's the most important document. You have that with you. The rule number 3 is you don't talk to them. You remember, don't answer the door. You were taught that at an early age. Don't open the door to strangers. They are strangers. Anybody comes knocking your door, people have been killed by answering the door. So I don't want to see you killed. On May 3rd, a year ago, a black airman was shot 5 times in the chest. He died on FaceTime talking to his fiancée, killed by a policeman from Gainesville, a sheriff, who had mistakenly gone to the wrong apartment. His life is over. He was talking to his fiancée and he died. That's the worst thing to happen. You can't bring back the life. Yes, the sheriff was fired, but he certainly was not criminally charged. He should have been. There's a civil lawsuit pending, and hopefully his mother, the mother that lost her son, we compensated, because she's devastated. She lives in Alabama, and she raised her son, and now her son's gone. All of you experienced losing a child. I have too. Unfortunately, Mr. Davis was so good, he caught the social worker committing perjury. She was asked a very important question when my wife's sister and husband were trying to adopt our 12-year-old daughter. And was asked a very important question: what kind of parents are these? And of course, the social worker proudly said, they're great parents, no problem at all. I've checked them out thoroughly. Then Vincent Davis reaches in his briefcase and pulls out a folder and starts thumbing through these reports. He then looked at the social worker, have they ever had domestic violence? Oh no, the social worker says there's no domestic violence. Well, then Vincent said, could you tell me about these incidents? And so he started reading report after report after report of domestic violence taken by the police. Not only were there domestic violence, there was physical domestic violence where they were hitting each other when they were arguing. You see, you don't want to argue in front of children because that sends out a bad signal to the children. Seeing the parents you love fighting among themselves is wrong. So if you're in that situation, take a time out. You give your children time out when they're acting bad or arguing or not following direction. You need to do the same thing yourself. Take a walk to the beach. Take a walk to the park. Both of you separate. Come back later in 15 minutes and then talk to it civilly without arguing. Talk about what's bothering you. I know a lot of it has to do with money because money seems to be a problem with the families. Um, David has said, I was falsely accused by my sister of molesting my daughter, and my daughter is being coached by the maternal grandparents and my sister. Well, that's tough. That's tough, and I'm glad you got Mr. Davis because that's a hard one. And that I have even taken a lie detector test to clear me. Well, you got to build a case. You got to question them. I don't know how the investigation was, but it's very important that you ask the investigators questions of what the allegations, like more details, more details. Now, I did put on here about location, David. I don't know what state or city or county you're in, so if you could please do so. Also, please tell me about your case from the beginning to where you're at. Now, another way you can interact is be a guest on my live stream. All you have to do is email my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com with the date and time you want to be on her show. And she'll gladly give you a link. You just pick the 14 shows, Monday or morning. Um, you pick morning or evening, and you decide which show you want to be on. Sunday morning show, excuse me, Friday evening show, Wednesday morning show. So I'd love to have you be a guest. She'll send you a link. It gets you to StreamYard, which is the software application I'm using, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube. So being a guest, I can take 9 of you, me making 10, and we can talk about your case and help you. Now, a third way to talk about your case is to call in right now at 626-698-0990. That's 626-698-0990. And what you want to do is that you call and then we can talk about your case. All I ask is you tell me your name, your first name, and where your case is. My phone is live right now. I can take calls right away. Now leave my number up, and so you call it there. Hi, Zoe Perez. How can a parent drop charges of abuse against them that are made and they stay on the parents' records? Well, you could write a letter to CPS and say that the charges that are made of abuse. Wait, I'm confused. You're the parent and you have charges about abuse against you. How the charges dropped? Well, they're on there because when someone calls, it looks like we got a call coming in. Okay. Whoop, I missed a call.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
David, when you call me, it only rang once.
607-056 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may
You
hang
need to
up
try
or press
again.
1 for more options.
David, David, go ahead and call me again at the number 626-698-0990. Okay, I just tried to call you. And it went to voicemail. Try again, David. Try again. Okay, David is from Santa Barbara, California. Here we go. Yeah, hello there, David. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Bob. Good morning. I appreciate you taking the time to allow me to call to your show.
Yeah,
Good morning
well,
to everybody there.
yeah, I'm glad you did too there. I was trying to help out Zoe Perez. And if the accusations are false, you need to fight the allegations. And that's really hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really hard to do. One thing is that I have a thing here called interviews. How to handle the interview with CPS. And this is what they tell you to do. You should always have an attorney present when you do an interview with a caseworker. because your attorney will tell you to stop talking if there's something there that will hurt you. Now, you need to ask the CPS investigator to tell you exactly what the allegations are against you. Saying it's abuse or neglect is worthless. They need to tell you the details of what neglect or what abuse. Take your time during this portion and take very detailed notes and force the investigator to go slowly, point by point. You have to go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I hired a private detective who's one of the best out of Los Angeles, and he specializes in interviews. I don't know if I should have him, attempt to interview the whoever did the interrogation. He's going to sub out my attorney today. Matter of fact, we're going to get rid of my court-appointed attorney who he told me he had 40 years of court experience, and he turned around and asked me what I wanted. And he turned around and asked me what I wanted to do, and I told him, "Are you kidding me?" I told him, "I want you to fight for me." And he says, "You know what? You better just walk away, sign the papers, and let the maternal grandparents take your daughter and just be done with it. And then hopefully in a few years, your daughter will mature enough where she can explain the truth." And I told him I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going to give up on my 9-year-old.
Right.
There's no way. I didn't do a damn thing.
Right. Well, the interview, if you've already had the interview, it's a little late to have your detective with you with the interview. The interview has probably already happened within 48 hours, didn't it not?
No.
Have they not interviewed at all? No one sat down and talked to you about the allegations?
All they asked me, nobody asked me in detail what's happened or anything like that. Absolutely not. I think one of the things that crippled them is that my sister told them that my daughter was bleeding from her front and back, and when they took my daughter to the hospital, and the medical went over my daughter, and there was nothing because nothing ever happened. So I think that kind of, I think that's why I've not, law enforcement has not been able to do anything to me. They did try to question me at one point, but I told them that they could speak to my lawyer, and they left me alone. So I mean, they've pretty much tried everything, but there's no truth to this whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that my daughter is going along with what my sister is saying, but from what I understand now, they're not letting my sister have any contact with my daughter. My daughter's with the maternal.
Oh, boy.
So my sister has not been able to have any more contact with my daughter, but my daughter still continues to say, not in detail anymore, but she just says that I heard her, but she's not going.
Yeah.
This is the third time that my sister's made these allegations against me, because the first, the typical forensic interview with my daughter and everything, and both times it came back that there was nothing to this. So this is the third time, and what my sister did was up it by telling them that my daughter twice at the hospital, and it came back that there was nothing to that. So I think that they've kind of resisted being able to continue with that investigation against me. But CPS is like the Napoleonic law: you're guilty until proven innocent. And with these accusations,
Right.
so there's no way that they
Right.
not even let me see my daughter.
Right.
The funny thing is, I even provided text messages up into that week too, where my daughter is asking for me, what time I'm gonna pick her up when I come off from work.
Right.
I mean, my daughter demonstrated all the opposite of a child who's.
So could you start from the beginning on your case?
What do you mean?
Well, out of the blue, did CPS come knocking at your door? Did they call you?
No, what happened was my daughter ran away from my friend's house. We were a block away from where my sister was, and I was working on a car. And my daughter became upset with me because I was installing a radiator. We were supposed to make able to make it. So she got upset. We went out to lunch, and she stewed at lunch. She's 9 years old. When we got back to my friend's house, I told her, whatever you do, do not run off to my sister's house. She told me, no, I won't. I'm going to play with the dog. My buddy has a dog.
Well, wait, has she run off before? Has she always run off before? Okay.
Yeah, this is the second time.
All right. So she ran to your sister, Hart, and now you think that she fabricated a story?
Well, when she ran to my sister's house, I called the police and I asked the police to help me get my daughter back because I had this contentious relationship because of the false allegations the other 2 times my sister made against
Oh,
me.
wait. There's other. Okay, let's start from the very beginning because you're bringing in things in here. Now it's making sense. Let's start at the very beginning when you had those false allegations. When did those happen?
In August of last year, my sister would help me watch my daughter. I'm a single dad. I have sole custody. The mother's not in the picture.
Okay.
And I work 2 jobs.
Okay.
And I was working 2 jobs. And so my sister takes care of my mom who's dying of dementia right now. So my sister is home and my mother's home. And my sister has a bunch of dogs. And, my sister can spend a lot of time with my
Is she
daughter.
older than you or younger than you?
She's 7 years younger than me.
Okay. And have you and your sister always had a very good relationship?
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
Okay. All right. So
That's why I was
on the
blind.
first incident, why did your daughter leave you? What was she upset about then?
Oh, she did it. I would leave her with my sister while I worked, and so I went to go pick her up on the weekend, and my sister told me that my daughter wanted to spend some extra time with her and my mother, and I said, okay. And so, told my sister, hey, I need to pick up my daughter, get her ready for school, and she says, well, you know what, she wants to go to church today, and she wants to stay a couple more extra days. Is that okay? And I told her, she wants to, that's fine. I didn't think anything of it. So Monday morning, I called my sister after school, and I told her I'm going to go pick up my daughter, and she would not answer the phone. I called the school, and I asked the school, did my daughter go to school? And they said no. So now I'm thinking maybe my mom was in the hospital, and that's why my daughter didn't go to school. So Tuesday, I call again, and my sister does not return any of my phone calls. So I call the school again, and I asked them, hey, did my daughter go to school? And they said no. So then they call my sister, and the school returns a call to me and says that they were able to get a hold of my sister and that my daughter's still with my sister. And I'm like, okay. So I drive over to the house, and I'm yelling for my sister to open the gate. She doesn't. So I call 911. Finally, a police officer arrives, and I tell him, hey, I've been trying to get my daughter. And he asked me, when's the last time you saw your daughter? And I told him, about Thursday of last week. And he asked me why. And I told him, because my sister babysits my child. And over the weekend, my child wanted to stay because she wanted to go to church. And this is a normal routine. I didn't have anything to think of, my sister was doing anything dubious.
Well, why did your sister, if your sister said that she had your daughter and everything is fine, why would you call the police?
Because my sister stopped answering my phone calls after Sunday.
Why'd she do that?
Talk to my daughter.
Why would she do that?
Because she called the police, and on Thursday of that week, she had called the police and told them that my daughter was asking questions. I guess they were walking in a department store and they saw a mannequin, and supposedly my daughter had questions about the anatomy of the mannequin. So my sister started, prodding my daughter and then tried to bribe my daughter with a puppy. I have the report. My daughter to say something, and so my daughter said that I had never touched her or anything like that, but my sister kept trying to ask leading questions to my daughter. So what happens? Well, this whole time that I'm thinking that everything is fine, my sister reported me to CPS and the police. They took my daughter, did a forensic investigation. They did all this stuff and never let me know all this was going on. And so when I wanted to get my daughter back, and that's why I thought that was odd. Police when I was outside my sister's house and find out what was wrong. And this whole time I'm assuming that maybe they're in the hospital because of my mother, and that's why my sister's not returning my phone calls or answering me. But I became very concerned because I called the hospital and my mom was not there. So the police, I'm outside of my sister's residence, and the police arrived, and then they explained to me that last week. I was being investigated because my sister made allegations that I had, touched my daughter. Told my sister to return my daughter to me, but my daughter didn't, and nobody contacted me to let me know this was ongoing. So then, more police showed up, a CPS showed up, and I was livid with CPS, and I thought, how dare you guys do all this behind my back and don't even tell me? And I could not believe that my sister, of all people, had done this to me, a person who I trusted.
Okay.
So my daughter was kicking and screaming. She didn't want to go with me because my sister, in the report, my sister had offered my daughter to have her own room and that she was going to get a puppy. And she completely tried to, weaponize my daughter against me. But
did you have your court order that showed you had custody of your daughter?
Oh, yes, I have everything.
Well, did you have it with you at the time of the police?
No, but they knew that already.
They knew you had custody of your daughter.
Yes, full custody.
So if the investigation's over, why are they still not returning your daughter to you? Why are they letting her sister keep your daughter?
This is the first incident in August. Okay, so that happened. I stayed away from my sister, and that was that. Hold on, I'm on the phone, George. Give me a minute. A what? No appointments. And so that was the first incident. So we stayed away from my sister.
Now wait a minute. Why would you walk away if you have a court order and your investigation's completed and you're found not guilty? Why would you walk away?
Well, I didn't have contact with my daughter after that. That was fine. This is the first incident in August.
No. The first incident, you were found, the investigation found nothing, right?
Correct.
All right. Well, then they should return your daughter. Your sister has no grounds to keep your daughter.
No, my sister didn't. I got my daughter.
Oh, you didn't tell me on the first incident you got your daughter back. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you got your daughter back. It was put to rest. And did you try to patch things up with your sister or patch up things with your daughter?
I tried to talk to my daughter about what had happened, but my daughter didn't want to talk about it, so I let it be.
Okay.
And so we just stayed away from my sister.
All right.
So then on New Year's, we were at a barbecue, and my daughter wanted to leave, and I told my daughter that to do her own thing, but that we were visiting family friends and whatnot. Well, when she was upset, she wanted to go to my sister's house, and I told her no. I told her that my sister was completely out of the picture after what had happened last time, and
Who watches your daughter while you go to work? Who watches your daughter while you go to work?
The maternal grandparents.
Oh, okay. Now there are your wife's parents, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes, I had a good relationship with them, but now they're starting to wonder what's going on because my sister went over there and even slandered me with them.
Okay.
And my sister even told CPS that the maternal grandparents didn't want to do anything, that they knew that I was molesting my daughter, but they were afraid to say anything because I wouldn't let them see my daughter. So we went to the barbecue. My daughter's upset. She doesn't want to be there. Okay, fine. On our way home, we get home. As soon as I get there, she's... And so my daughter takes off on me. I can't find my daughter. I call the police to come and help me.
Okay.
What happens? The police show up. My daughter, I don't know how she gets to my sister's house, but she was in contact with her somehow. But when she gets to my sister's house, I send the police over there. The police completely changes me, and they say that I was under the influence of alcohol and that I...
Wait. Where did they arrest you? In front of the sister's house?
No, in front of my house.
Well,
are you following me? On New Year's, we were at family and friends' house, and my daughter became upset with me because she wanted to leave. She wanted to go to my sister's, and I told her no, that my sister was out of the picture. With my sister or not over the phone, I don't know. But on the phone that that evening, this is now in January, this is the second incident, when we pull up to our house, my daughter takes off, and I can't find her.
Okay.
Somehow, my daughter ends up going to the house, and there my sister calls the police too on me. And so since I had already called the police to come and help me because my daughter had run off, and when the police had, but all of a sudden they changed their attitude with me, and they said that I was under the influence and that I had molested my daughter because my sister had talked to them, right? And so what?
Well, do you mention that your first allegation, she did the same thing and she was found false about it?
Yeah, they didn't care. Once my
Right.
their attitude completely changed.
Okay.
They didn't want to hear anything from me, so they arrested me. I go to jail. I spend 3 days in jail.
Now, why did you
I
go
never
to
went to
jail?
court.
Because you're under the influence.
My sister told them that I had molested my daughter, and that
When you molest somebody, you have to have evidence. You're not put in jail. You can't be arrested unless they caught you in the act.
Right. Well, anyways.
And is this the Santa Barbara police?
The Santa Maria police. I'm in Santa Barbara County, but in
okay.
the Santa Maria.
Yeah, Santa Maria police. Well, they must be really stupid because there's no crime. They can't arrest you unless you've committed a crime, and they can't do it based on hearsay.
Okay, well, listen, the thing is, I'm arguing with them, and I'm telling them what's going on, and they don't listen anymore because my sister has police at her house, and she's telling them that I'm a child molester and that I'm under the influence. So the cops that are with me are communicating.
Did you post bond? Like when you arrested, did you post bond?
No, I didn't post bond. They gave me a bond of $100,000, but so I sit in jail.
A bond of $100,000? My goodness gracious!
Yes.
Okay, that's outrageous. But anyway, did you think about calling an attorney?
I did, and but I'll get to that. So I sat in that jail for 3.
Did you get before a judge?
No, they let me go.
Why did you not get before a judge?
Because they never filed on me.
Well, you can get them for false arrest. You can get them for false arrest. You can sue the Santa Rita Police Department for false arrest.
Well, I'm heading that way. So anyway, so this happened. So that whole time, the 3 days that I'm sitting in jail, my sister has my daughter over at her house. So I finally, this morning, they let me go, and I call CPS, and there's a card out my door, and CPS tells me, hey, you need to come in and talk to us, and I tell them, I want my daughter back immediately. And so they tell me, well, that my daughter is still at my sister's house, and my daughter was in place, and I told them, you know what, they were aware that I was arrested for child endangerment. I told them there's no charges on me. I was released. There's nothing filed on me. Nothing ever happened like what was said. Mm-hmm. And the police said that I was under the influence of alcohol, and I wasn't. CPS made me go test when I came out of jail. I tested. Of course, I passed. And I was able to finally get my daughter back. You know, I demanded that they hand over the police department. The police department said that my daughter had already been placed, that they couldn't do nothing. And so I demanded to talk to a supervisor at the police department that I finally did contact. And so they contacted me, told them for 3 to 4. And finally they had to tell my sister charged with kidnapping. And so she ended up handing my daughter over to a niece of mine, and the niece brought my daughter to me. Okay. And so once again, now I'm talking to my daughter, and I'm telling her what's going on. So
did you ever think about getting counseling with you and your daughter?
Yes, I signed up for counseling, but I did not get in until March 3rd into the counseling. And I told them, you know, what was going on. They asked me what the motive that my sister had. And I said, I remember back in August, and I told my sister that doesn't work that way, that they would come after me for child support, and that there's no way I would handle. So that I was working a lot, and and my daughter resented me for that. But still, there was no reason for all of this. So, long story short, I have my daughter now. Now it's February, the following month. Like I was telling you, I was working on that car, and my daughter a block away from my sister's.
This is the third incident.
Yes. And when I called the police to help me, they completely, the same thing again. My sister was able to influence the police. The police told me that my sister had already called the police and said that I was drunk. I told them send the patrolman here where I'm at to talk to me. And they didn't. I waited about 2 hours. The police wouldn't come to me. They wouldn't come to me. So finally I go to my sister's house, and there's about 5 police cars right there. CPS. I wanted to talk to CPS. They would talk to me. 2 police officers walked up to me and a friend of mine. They cut me off, and they told me that my daughter had been taken into protective custody because there was molested my daughter, and that a detective was going to reach out to me. And I told him that this was complete bullshit again, and that they were falling for this. Then my sister comes out of her house, and she starts yelling at me in front of the police that I'm a pedophile and a child molester, and my daughter's sitting there. And I tell the police officer, look at what she's saying in front of my child. I go, that's a lie. And he says, well, you know what? Slander, that's a civil thing. We don't work. You know what? I don't know how you guys sleep at night. And so then I called CPS that evening, and the first thing that they told me was that my daughter ran up to, when the police went to my sister's house this third time, that my daughter, without being even asked anything, she ran right up and told them that her front and back hurt and that she was bleeding. And what did the police do? In the report, it states that they didn't see any blood. They asked my sister, do you want us to? Oh, of course, because it wasn't true. And so they let my sister keep my daughter again.
Well, when are you going to call the attorney? You've had 3 times. Did you call attorney then?
Yes. And then I tried to get a restraining order against my sister, and the judge would not give it to me.
Why not?
And I didn't have enough proof against my sister.
Proof of what? You can file a restraining order without proof. Then you have a court date before a judge. It's a criminal charge, by the way. But then you have a court date, and then you explain to the judge and support your evidence. And you have 3 times this has happened.
Yeah, well, they didn't want to listen to me.
Well, my problem is you never got an attorney the first time, the second time, or the third time. Now you have an attorney.
Yes.
Well, this is going to be a hard challenge for Vincent Davis. It's okay. I'm not trying to say you didn't honor, but in the future, if you ever law involved with CPS or the law, you should always get an attorney. And I'm telling this now because everybody on the show is listening. And I want to welcome Margaret King. Hi, Bob. Understanding findings by CPS should not be allowed on parents' records. That's something that should go to legislations. That's right. And you can remove it from your records too. And Zoe has accusations that are false too. All of you, when you have your first interview, if you have not had an interview, you need to have your attorney present, and you need to ask questions in detail. Take your time, listen, but ask the investigator questions. That's your time. It's not there. They're going to try to confuse you and talk about your background. Like, were you ever disciplined by your parents? They're going to try to do other things. You need to stay to the point. What are the allegations? And what do you have on me? Because they now have stuff on you. So, Mr. Davis, have you told them you've not done a interview yet?
I did do the initial interview.
Was Mr. Davis there?
No.
Well, the initial interview,
what
do you talk about the initial interview? This is after the 3rd time you did the interview, or when did you do it?
Yes, they called me in on the 3rd time.
All right. That's the time you should have had an attorney present. Oh, boy. And you probably were so angry, you probably said stuff that you shouldn't have said. I find
not
out.
really, because I mean, I don't have anything to lie about. Nothing happened. Nothing even can be misconstrued as inappropriate with my relationship with my daughter.
Okay,
To hide it
what did
all,
they find
nothing.
out the second time and third time? Did they do exam again by the doctors the second and third time? They find anything?
Shit, nothing.
Okay,
Nothing.
so
Nothing
you have
happened.
a doctor's report on incident number 1, incident number 2, and incident number 3 that shows there is no attempt to harm your daughter. No
I
physical.
don't have any access. I don't have any access to them. But whatever the exams did, yeah, they were all
Okay,
negative.
you do have access. They're your records. You can ask the hospital to produce them. And you should have asked for a copy of it when they did their findings. You should ask for a copy of it. You should also ask a letter from CPS that said they couldn't find anything. There's 3 incidents. You should have 3 letters from the CPS that said they couldn't find anything.
Well, I hope that Mr. Davis, we're going to go and fire my court-appointed attorney today.
Okay.
And then he's going to ask for time to prepare.
Well, he's going to ask for a continuance. And so when is your next court date?
Today.
Okay. You have a court date today with Mr. Davis. Did he file a 388?
I'm not sure. He's gonna barely get the court appointed today. He's gonna take over the case as of today.
Yeah. Well, it's going to mean it's postponed. But meanwhile, you need to help him out by getting the medical reports from the 3 hospitals or the 3 doctors. And you also need to get reports from CPS if they, something that Mr. Davis can help you subpoena reports and subpoena people to help you.
Yes, but like I said, Bob, I didn't do a damn thing that can even.
I'm with you. From what you're telling me, it's wrong because you have a sister that's overreacting. She may have had feelings about you when you were growing up. Maybe when she was a little child. She may have.
I protected her.
I know that, but
I was a good older brother.
I know, but she may have think some things or something, or maybe she's upset. Your daughter is very mixed up at 9 years of age. She should know better than to run away from your father. But see, her mother's gone. She doesn't have a mother figure, so she relies on your sister as a mother figure. And you're
and now I found out that my daughter now, not to even call me dad, they refer to me as the man. I'm not dad or. CPS told me that my daughter doesn't even want to participate in any kind of counseling with me and doesn't want nothing to do with me at all. She doesn't want to see me, which really hurts because I even have text messages up into that week of February where, like I was telling you before, I downloaded all, is telling me, I love you, Daddy, in our interaction, and it's completely, loving and all that. And so it's hard for me to see that 1 week later, she's completely turned against me. And it's all because of lies that my sister has slandered me.
Well, she probably doesn't like the environment that she's probably in because she's the only child. She doesn't have brothers or sisters. Yes. And your sister's made a promise of a puppy dog. And she says that she'll have her own room. Does she have her own room in your house?
No, we shared a room. She had her own little bed and everything.
Yeah, see what the problem is right now. She needs her own space. She's 9. She needs her own space. She's 9 years old, and that's part of the problem.
Right.
Your sister's off you. I'm just trying to tell you how you're going to have to make it better with your daughter. I'm only speaking from experience because
you're right.
I've raised 6 children, and I know how important it is. I used to have my little boy and little girl together in the same room in bunk beds. But then my daughter grew up and she wanted her own room, so she got her own room.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Bob, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. And it's true what you're saying, but, I'm a single dad. I don't ask the government for nothing, and I was trying, Bob. I'm not perfect, but I don't deserve this.
I understand that, but you're going to have to bury your pride and your esteem for the time being and suck it in and fight this out. You got to be really sensible. You got to be unemotional. Vincent Davis is a good attorney. He's very unemotional. He's a pit bull of an attorney. And I watched him in court when he caught my social worker in perjury and how he meticulously got her to say stuff that wasn't true in her oath. So I know that he's a good attorney from experience. So you're in good hands with Mr. Davis. But you got to help yourself and help him because, he is expensive. You get yourself one of the best attorneys in the country. And
I don't even want to tell you the amount of money that I paid to him already.
no, I know what you paid to him. I mean, I know what you paid to him. But I'm telling you.
I don't think so. I paid a small ransom, let me tell you. And
well,
it took a lot.
I had to sell my house.
So my daughter's worth that and more.
I had to sell my house and use the money from a quick sale of my home. I lost over a lot of my equity. I lost half of my equity when I quick sold my house. I paid off my first and second, and then I had enough money to give him. But it was, I know it's really hard, but get those medical reports. That is your key to success. Because the medical reports from the doctors state that she wasn't molested or touched in her private area, then that is so important. Forget about what your sister says or your in-laws, other family members. You also need to get the reports, do it. Also, you got to think about maybe getting a bigger place. I know it's a lot of money, but sometimes.
I have one now.
Oh, okay. And you need to help. You need to tell your daughter that you have another place. You can have your own room, but I need your help to help me decorate your room.
They're not letting me have any communication.
You need to have visitation with your daughter. You need to have visitation.
They won't.
And
they won't let me because
Vincent will ask for
visitation.
Visitation. Well, that's true. My 12-year-old daughter didn't want to see me either. I know what you're going through. It's sad, but I didn't have an attorney. Vincent will help you there. He'll help you there, getting there to your daughter. The first thing you need to tell Vincent is that we need to get those medical reports entered into court showing that all 3 times that there's been no physical sign of molestation to your daughter. It's all based on hearsay by your daughter and by your sister.
That's exactly the truth. My sister is the one that told my daughter to say those things, and that should be a form of child abuse in itself.
Yes, I understand that. But you know what? I'm glad, David, you called me and shared your story. I'm so glad that you have Vincent Davis because he'll take you. But I do have to end my live stream because I've gone over my time. I'm supposed to end at 11 o'clock, and it's 11:19. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay, David. I want you to know you can call me back. I'll be again on at 10 o'clock tonight. Excuse me, at 7 o'clock tonight. That's the West Coast time in California. I'm on again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I'm doing an early show tomorrow. So I'll be on at 8 o'clock tomorrow. For all my listeners out there, I'll be on at 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. And so I do have to, I know they brainwash. Margaret is from California, says they brainwash children. They do that all the time. Zoe, I'd love to talk to you more, Zoe, but I don't know where you're from. But I agree with you. The accusations are false. I'd like to help you there. NYP from California City. Thank you for coming in. And again, Donald, I want to thank you. Go ahead. You wanted to tell me something. Go ahead, Donald.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
God bless
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry to call you wrong name, David.
I just want to say God bless everybody, and keep fighting. And in my situation, I believe that God and Mr. Davis is going to help me. I need everybody's prayers.
Well, check back with me. I have some ideas. Check back with me. I have some ideas that will help you. I have some ideas to help you.
When's a good time for me to get back to you then?
Well, my show time is tonight at 7 p.m. You can call me on my show at 7 p.m. or tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. That's Pacific. I'm here in Huntington. I'm in here in Surf City, USA.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'll call call you tonight. Okay.
Just
and like I said, thank you so much.
be so calm and
I'm gonna
listen.
write a book with
Be
it.
a listener in the court today. There probably won't be any chance for you to talk, so just be a listener. Follow Vincent's advice, but get those medical reports right away. Those are going to be your key to success, is getting the medical reports.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to sign
All right,
off.
thank you.
God bless to everyone. Do not stop fighting for your child. It's important not to give up. And I'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is Bob signing off, and God bless you all, and have a